Good morning and welcome. Thank you to the Chamber for organizing this event, and for ECC and their work staff for the fine breakfast that we had today. I congratulate all of the city departments this year and the employees for the outstanding performance that they have given the residents of this city. The manager's office and the city manager's office has again confirmed and reaffirmed our AAA bond rating. It's extremely important for us, puts us in the top 5% of cities in the country, and I think it sets us apart from others. And as part of that today and part of what we do, I'd like to introduce two people, Laura Valdez Wilson and Aaron Cosentino. Please stand up. They are our new assistant city managers, and their involvement in the budget process has been really, they burn the midnight hours here for us, and they help show themselves as excellent employees, and that talks about the future of our city, and bringing young people into the mix and for part of our certainly part of our staff. I want to go through some of our departments really quickly. Today's speech is going to be a little different. I'm going to talk about things that we've accomplished, but I want to spend a lot of time on what's going to happen in the future. The police department, Elgin Police Department. Crime in Elgin is at a 40-year low by numbers. Our type 1 crime is less today than it was 40 years ago, and our population is double. As an example, in the past, we would typically have 150, 160 burglaries in a year. So far this year through October, we have 40 burglaries, or robberies in the city of Elgin, excuse me. And I think that's tremendous. It talks about the community, it talks about the efforts of our police department. Our fire department received a number 2 rating from the Insurance Service Organization that allows the city of Elgin to reduce the rates, the insurance rates that we all pay for our fire insurance. This puts us in the top, a small percentage of fire departments across the United States. Hard work by the city, hard work by the fire department to achieve those goals. Our Public Works Department, they have done an exemplary work for the past decades and kind of go unsung. And I think it's important to talk about them. It's hard, they don't see many awards. There are not many things that they strive to get awards on a national level. But the biggest reward they got, when we had a crisis this year, we had some storms go through the city and caused tree damage, caused property damage. Those guys stood up, worked hard, and I got nothing but good compliments from the community on their service. And I think that speaks a lot. We're going to talk a little bit about the citizen survey that Jackie alluded to. And that has really kind of sets the tone for what I want to do today. Back last summer, I said I want the city of Elgin and our residents to talk about what kind of a community they want. Set the bar for us as a council and as a city staff. What do you want to have? What's your vision for this community? And this is Elgin is in a sweet spot this year. And we have a number of studies that are coming forward for us, and that will show what kind of city they want to be, what kind of planning that we have, and we're going to be talking a lot about that when I finish up today. Elgin is, again, 76% of the people that responded said Elgin is a good place to live. 88% were satisfied with public safety. 75% were satisfied with public works, or more than satisfied. 71% said they would continue to live in Elgin. There's no endorsement for a city more important than the endorsement of the people that we serve. And the financial agencies that offer an unbiased opinion of what we are as a city. We had to go through a rating twice because some of the rating agencies changed their rules this year. And so they came back and assessed us again under different rules, and we still got AAA rating. So we're very happy with that. I could not be more proud of the employees of the city of Elgin. They do a great job for the people in this city. I want to talk about transportation today. I'm going to talk about building blocks for a future success for the city of Elgin. First one I want to talk about is transportation. We have spent a considerable amount of money, over $400 million on transportation in the city of Elgin in the last couple of years, to direct projects throughout the city, including I-90 expansion, South Street and Bowes Road, McLean Boulevard and Route 20, $25 million that we bonded out for street improvements. Metra's Z100 bridge, really a sexy name for a bridge, across the Fox River, over $30 million. Pace expanded the downtown service. Chicago Street is going to be done next year, and we're putting the funds towards that. Route 20 and Route 31 bridge will be worked on in the next year. So we've got a lot of things in the works for expansion and past projects that have directed for development of a transportation system. Elgin will be a transportation hub for the northwest suburbs. We have representatives from PACE here. I want to talk a little bit about the park and ride. My understanding from my friend Jeff Schilke is that park and ride at Randall Road and 20 has grown 25% a month since they put it into effect. People are taking that as a mass transportation. That's the future of our city and other cities, is to provide transportation for our community and transportation for the neighboring, for the region. We have Metra going to put a bridge in that's going to make more fluid transportation across the Fox River. The bridge was built in 1888. Time to replace it. And they're going to go to a double, yeah, don't even think about it. Going to put a double track in so it makes it safe. We can make sure that train travel will move forward. Why is transportation important to us? Transportation is part of what the vision of the city council was 25 years ago. They thought that we needed to get people to live downtown. And to revitalize our downtown, we need to make it more of an urban setting. It's going to become a transportation site and a site for Metra, for PACE, to get people to and from their job, get people into the city. I've been contacted from people in the far western regions of the state. They're looking at bringing Greyhound back, to bring a Greyhound service to Elgin and the transportation. We need to sit down and talk about how those things are going to happen, how we plan to make it most efficient. You can catch a bus in the city of Elgin and ride to a Hare Airport for $3. $3. Goes through the park and ride. I don't know how you can beat that. It's for service. When you're going at holidays, why take your car in there and fight the traffic if you can ride with PACE? And this is, I want to make this clear. I'm not doing this because PACE sponsored this, because I didn't know they were going to sponsor it. This is how I wrote the speech, because I think it's that important to this city. I want to move on to education, and it's something that really is something I've been involved in for the last few years. I think it's probably one of the most important things that we've had to struggle with in our community. And this goes back 3 or 4 years for me when I met with business leaders. And Carol Gieske and I with the President's Council. And we had about 20 business leaders sitting around the table. And the direction from the council at that time was we wanted to talk about education as part of our strategic plan. What did that mean? And I said, boy, what do we have to do with education? So I talked to our business leaders. I said, what can we do as a city to help you be successful? What's the most important thing? Every one of them said, we need an educated workforce. And if we don't have an educated workforce, we're going to fail. No matter what we do, no matter what other things that we put into this system, if we can't provide a working community and a pipeline of educated workers to our industries, our businesses, we're going to fail. So we had a seminar, a government-sponsored, city-sponsored program where we invited education leaders to talk about education, what we needed to do. And we came up with a concept at that time. We signed an agreement. I signed an agreement with Dr. Torres at that time, Dr. Sam, Dr. Kroom at Judson University, and we talked about what we wanted to do. We identified some things that we thought were very important and how we would move forward. One was to educate young people, I mean really young people, so that they could read at grade level by the time they're in 3rd grade. And I don't get shocked very often anymore, but how important this is and education is to a community like the city of Elgin or any community. The criminal justice system in the United States is designed and built on the education level of a 3rd grader. They feel if a young person can't read by 3rd grade, their chances of ending up in the criminal justice system go straight up. That stunned me. That's one of the things we're working towards. We want to create an educated workforce so people and young people will be exposed to options. We can't We can't direct them in what to do, but we can certainly provide options for them. And this group did that. We sat down and talked about how we wanted to move forward. This concept now has become a movement. It's more than just a concept. We've got a list here of sponsors and people that are participating. I want to take a couple of seconds and particularly point out the contribution of Linda Deering-Dean from Advocate Sherman and Peter Sikorsky from Get Fresh Foods in Bartlett. They are the chair people. They have taken this concept and turned it into a movement in the city of Elgin. And I think the gratitude from this community will be, over time, we're going to see that this is something that helps define us as a city and helps define U46 as a school district in the state of Illinois. We want to intercept students at the age of 14 or 15 and expose them to options in education that are available through the traditional classroom and through the industrial world. I have never seen this degree of commitment from a community in my time. They've stepped up, people volunteer. We've got over 2,000 volunteer hours this year from people coming to meetings, working on this program with U46. U46 is expanding a program. Everybody's in the fight here. U46 is expanding a program, was just in the paper a couple days ago. They're putting a welding class in spending money on a welding class because they recognize the need for welders in the city of Elgin and in the region. Elgin Community College added a forklift class at the request of one of the industries in Elgin because they couldn't get enough trained forklift drivers. We're training people to do the jobs that are available to them. The young people in this city, many of them were facing a stone wall. My friend Deb Perriman talked to me 6 or 7 years ago, and it kind of stuck with me. She was one of the leading teachers in the country for environmental science and biology. And she told me, Dave, it makes me cry. These kids work hard, they're smart. When they get through with high school, the world ends for them. They don't know where to go. Many of them can't go to college. We have to change that attitude, and we have to give them a place to go. And that's what our goal here is. Business is interested in internships. We need to work towards providing those internships and providing additional education for young people. We had a program last October that sponsored by U46 and the Alignment Collaborative for Education at ECC to bring young people, businesses, education together to talk about the opportunities. Over 1,000 students and their parents came out and walked through this program, met with business leaders, talked about what types of jobs they do, what do they create, what's available for me, how can I work, how can I help. The highlight of that for me was we had Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy come out. He's on the Education Committee in the U.S. House of Representatives. They're working on a program. He saw what we did here and he said, I wish everybody could see this. This program is going to be successful. I know it's going to be successful because I've looked in the faces of 14-year-olds that had no hope. Sitting in the middle school that I went to, at Ellis Middle School, almost all minority students talked about what it takes to be the mayor. So I told them what it was like. That was why I was there. And one young fellow said, can I be mayor? I said, sure. If I can, you can, because I wasn't the best kid here. Trust me. And so we started to talk about this as an opportunity, and I saw hope in those faces, that there's something now for me that I can do, and if I can't go to college, if my parents can't send me to college, there's a job here for me someplace. City of Elgin will benefit socially and economically from the efforts of the Alignment Collaborative. The ripple effect through a community was shown in Nashville, Tennessee. They were one of the first communities to go to this type of a education system and a workforce development program. Changed the whole dynamic of their community. Their graduation high school graduation rate went from something like 50% to over 85% because people stayed in school. They had a reason to stay. They had a reason to finish their education. Teen pregnancy rate dropped. Gang dropped. All of these things are ripple effects caused by education and providing good employment opportunities for young people. How does it tie into what the city of Elgin does? This is going to be a part of our economic development plan. And we need to, as part of the city, that's what we do. We want to support businesses. I'm going to talk about a foundation under businesses. We can't make businesses be successful. All we can do is try to provide the things that help them be successful by giving them a foundation under their feet. Elgin's economic growth will depend on these two building blocks as well as others. If we can't move materials and finished goods efficiently, and we can't produce an educated stream of workers, we're going to fail. Many businesses are relocating to Elgin as a city of choice. If we stay the course we are on, Elgin will be a suburban leader in residential and industrial development. I firmly believe that. We'll have people come here, we'll move here, people will stay here, they'll work here, and that will be part of Elgin's future. I'm going to talk a little bit about Elgin's trifecta. When I said that, this was an opportunity for us to look at Elgin as a community and decide what type of city we want. We had 3 programs coming together at the same time that people have volunteered to work on for, some of them for 2 and 3 years, to bring forth plans for us for the city. The comprehensive plan will talk about how we grow as a city, what our future development's going to be, what zoning looks like, what residential growth is going to look like out to our west, and how we develop as a community. Our strategic plan is going to guide us. That's our document. That's our highest level of planning document for the City of Elgin and the City Council. We did the citizen survey and asked for citizen input back on what they felt was important to the City of Elgin and to them and to their families, and the things that they thought that we needed to do. How do we pay for this? I want to spend a little bit of a brief time. You know, we have a great plan here. I wanted to set the bar. You tell me and the City Council and staff how you want to live. I want to set the bar and say, now, that's our goal. We want to maintain this standard of living for everybody in the City of Elgin. How do we pay for it? We're in the budget process right now. We're planning to have a balanced budget over the next 3 years with a blend of reductions, efficiencies, fees, and increases in use taxes. We're still in the discussion for that. So some of these things I'm going to talk about haven't been voted by the City Council yet. So I want to make that clear. To help balance the budget, we're going to use some of our reserves, and about almost $7 million over the next 3 years to help balance the budget so we don't have to raise taxes as high as we thought we would have to. Those reserves are a safety net for us. We're going to spend some of those reserves down. By the time we finish this, we'll be at just about at the level that we expect as a city that we need to maintain. And that's going to be a part of our budget process here for the next few years. There's some issues with that. We're going to talk a little bit about property taxes. The state of Illinois is going to freeze property taxes. We have a graph here showing how our property taxes over the past few years have been maintained. We're going to maintain our level of property taxes for the city until 2020. There are 2 line items in a property tax bill. One is for the portion that the city gets, and one is for the portion for pensions. And we are under obligation by the state of Illinois to meet certain pension demands. I'm not going to guarantee that that portion is going to stay the same. We have to pay for pensions. In the last few years, we've taken money out of the reserves to help prop up our pensions and get us back on track so that we could meet their guidelines of 90% funding of pensions. Quick point. The state of Illinois mandated that we have to fund 90% of our pensions, and we have to anticipate that those employees will live to be 100 years old. We also have to anticipate they're all going to retire on the same day. So they've made some unreasonable requests to make this happen. Puts the burden back on us as a city. We have taken from our reserve funds to prop up that portion of our budget and to advance our pensions. That is not sustainable. We can't continue to do that. We have to have a way to pay for that. The way that the states determine how those budgets are paid for is through property tax. So we'll be taking a look at that in the future, and we're going to see where those, how the state still continues to talk about this, make some modifications to it. But at this point in time, the mandate for us and the skyrocketing pension costs are putting a burden on virtually every municipality in the state of Illinois. And some will not be able to meet those requirements. I want to talk a little bit about the future growth And what we see as an industry, a municipal industry, things are changing for us. We're seeing things along Randall Road where commercial development and malls used to be the thing that everybody wanted to do on Randall Road. Those days are changing. We see it in the paper every day, that commercial and the commercial sales are changing. We're changing the way we look at things. We had plans 10 years ago for huge commercial areas out west. I don't see those happening anymore. I think things are changing for us a little bit, and I think we have to adapt. That's why we do these plans for 5 years or 6 years and come back and make some adaptive changes to that. We're seeing changes along Randall Road. In St. Charles and other communities, we're building a residential unit along Randall Road in Elgin. So it's becoming a change in how we look at commercial property. Industrial property, we're seeing good commercial growth in Elgin and industrial growth in Elgin. We have people moving here from other communities because of transportation. We have to be able to tie those new businesses into our transportation system. We find out what their needs are. I want to move on to the strategic plan. This is a draft. The old document was about 35 pages. We had a committee that's been working on this. Manager Stiegel and I appointed people that were a broad brushstroke of the city of Elgin, demographically, from all across from the geographically to racial to age, and this is what they came up with. 5 years. It's about 5 pages long. It's going to be easy to read. It's going to guide the city of Elgin. The strategic plan is the highest level planning document that the city of Elgin has. It's the guidance for the city council. It's our goal to meet those things. It's broken down. It looks to me, in my vision from it, it looks like a tree. It looks like a big pine tree. At the top are our core values. We have 4 core values. Beneath those are defined goals. Goals that we see as a city that we would like to accomplish. To feed those goals are objectives. Objectives that were defined and determined by the committee and by the residents of the city of Elgin to give direction back to the city council. I'm just going to pick on a couple out of a list. There are a number of them in the document. Invest in infrastructure. Sewer, water, streets, bridges, all have to be paid for. We want to make sure that we keep our infrastructure safe and in good working condition. Leverage arts opportunities. Elgin is becoming an arts center. We have people moving here because of the arts and entertainment. Continue to do that. Cultivate partnerships with local human services to provide the human services that this city needs. Elgin's a city. It's not a village. We have to provide services for other communities. They come here to receive our services. The state's has let us down. They have not provided adequate funding to fund those services. It creates a hardship on local government because we are not going to abandon those people. We're not going to abandon our citizens. This is not going to be a document that sits on the shelf. I want to push this document forward. We take this document seriously, and I would like to challenge staff and the city council in the next year to hit the ground running in 2018. And I have a plan to move forward, and my involvement is going to start today. I intend to work towards accomplishing one of the objectives as part of that strategic plan. My goal and my objective is support the enhancement of our public schools and education institutions through aligned community partnerships and to ensure a prepared and educated workforce. I'm going to enlist staff. I've talked to the city manager and the assistant city managers to work with me. I want to know what tools we have available in City Hall that can help push this forward. I've talked to Carol Gieske, and I would like to involve the chamber and the Elgin Development Group to work with us and create a partnership to create an interface between School District U46 and the industries and businesses in this city. I get around a little bit and I talk to people in businesses. They say, gee, we train kids, we have people, we do some internships. They don't know how to find the students. Students that are in School District U46 have a difficult time connecting with the industries. It looks like this, trying to put a plug together like this. And what I would like to do is create an interface between the city of Elgin, the industries, and School District U46 so we can make that connection. So young people will have an opportunity to find out what's out there for them. They need to shadow to help their education. They need to find what kind of jobs are out there. They need to look for internships. Industry and businesses want to provide those, but we need to put them together. And that's what I'm going to work with with Carol and staff. I have talked to some citizen volunteers. I'm going to be asking for citizens to help as well. I will ask the city council members to adopt that same strategy and find something that they think that will work for them, that they are interested in, that they feel is a passion for them. Participate, find an objective that they can work with. I would ask them to meet with the city manager and I over the next few months to help them create a pathway and to accomplish their goal and for planning. I have talked to Councilman Gavin, sitting in the audience today, at a council meeting. He hasn't committed yet, but I asked him if he'd be interested. I know that he has a passion for code enforcement. I would ask that he maybe take the stewardship of that. And that's what I would like to see from other council members. Can we work forward together to push this plan forward beginning January 1st of this year? It's going to be voted on in December, and I would hope that we can do that and work with staff. We as a council can send a message to the community that we are going to work hard. We are going to try to do our best to fulfill the vision that they have for this city. And I think this is the best way to do it. There are 9 of us that can lead this charge forward and try to identify 9 of these objectives and work hard on them for next year so that we can plan and we can have a vision of a city that will be build building blocks and build this city into something that we can all be proud of. As I wrap up here today, I've been honored to be the mayor of this city and to serve the residents that are here. I have seen Elgin grow in population size, businesses, and geographically. I have talked this morning about building a foundation for success. The building blocks that I've talked about are important, but there's nothing more valuable than the people that are here, that we work with. Volunteers worked on the strategic plan for years, put in many, many hours to make that strategic plan be a document that's workable for us. I want to thank the chairperson of that who guided it, Bill Briska, did a wonderful job. We have community discussions in this city with our police department and with faith-based organizations to talk about difficult issues such as race relationships and immigration. Many cities can't do that. We can. People gave of their time and businesses gave of their time so that we can work on the Alignment Collaborative for Education that will create something from School District U46 that will work for this entire community. I talked about the growth of a city in the physical sense, but I think more important, I have seen Elgin's heart and soul grow beyond anything I could envision 10 years ago. Thank you for being here, and thank you for listening to me. I want to finish and steal a quote from Charles Dickens. God bless us, everyone. Thank you.